Welcome to SOMA Academy, where I make math simple. In this video, I'm going to show you how to solve simple equations. However, before we get started, if you have not already subscribed to the channel, make sure you do so and hit that notification bell. That way, when I release new content like this, you will get notified. Let us start with a simple equation such as 5x plus 10 is equal to 35. In order to solve this, what I first want to explain is that in an equation like this, there's always the left-hand side of the equation and there is also the right-hand side of the equation. In an equation, both these sides must always be equal. So, in order to solve this equation, what we have to do is we look at the sign that comes after these variables. In order to solve this equation, what we have to do is 5x plus 10 equals to 35. The first step is we subtract 10 from both sides of the equation. We subtract 10 from both sides of the equation. Why do we subtract? Because we always look at this sign here. If this is positive, then you subtract the number from both sides of the equation. If it is negative, then you add whatever you have here to both sides of the equation. So in this case, 10 minus 10 gives you 0, and you will have 5x on the left hand side, and the right hand side will be 25. So in order to get the value of x, you then divide 5 both sides of the equation. 5 divided by 5 is 1. There you have x only is equal to 25 divided by 5 is 5. So that is the solution for x. Okay? So generally, you have to make sure that the left hand side is equal to the right hand side, and then the next step is you subtract, if it is positive, then you subtract whatever comes after this variable from both sides of the equation. In this case, you subtract 10 from both sides of the equation. And then if there is a coefficient, this is what I'm calling coefficient. If there is a coefficient for the variable, then you divide that coefficient to both sides of the equation. Okay, let us do another quick example. Say I have x plus 5 equals to 17. In order to solve for x, this is the left hand side of the equation and this is the right hand side of the equation. That two sides must be equal. Okay, so because I have positive here, I subtract minus 5 from both sides of the equation. Okay, therefore I will only have x on the left hand side, and on the right hand side I will only have 12. Since the coefficient of x is 1 in this case, if you divide 1 to both sides of the equation, that doesn't change anything. Therefore x is equal to 12. Let me do one more example that involves a fraction, because when it involves a fraction it can be tricky. Say we have x divided by 4 plus 2 equals to 3, and we want to solve this. The first step is we want to get rid of the denominator, which in this case is 4. So what should I do? There are 3 parts to this equation. That the first part is here, second part, and third part. So in order to get rid of the denominator, I multiply 4 to all the parts. Okay, multiply 4, multiply 4, multiply 4 here. These 4 and that 4 will cancel. Part 1, I will only have x plus part 2, 2 times 4 is 8. Part 3, I will have 4 times 3 is 12. Now it's as simple as the ones we have been doing before. So what should I do? In order to solve this, I subtract 8 from both sides of this equation. These 2 will cancel, that is 0. X is equal to 12 minus 8 is 4. So your answer is 4. Because the coefficient of x is also 1, so you don't need to divide anything. If you divide 1, it doesn't change anything. Let me do one final example also. Okay, so y divided by 3 is equal to 1 out of 2. So, and I want to find the value for y. Solve for y. The easiest way to solving such equation, this is the left hand side and this is the right hand side. Okay, that two sides must be equal. In order for you to solve, this is what when you do cross multiplication. Okay, cross multiplication. What that means is y multiplied by 2, that is 2 times y, because that is the number across 2 is that. So that is equal to 3 times 1. Okay, 3 cross 1. So 2 times y is 2y equals to 3 times 1 is 3. And in order for me to find the value of y, I divide the coefficient of y on both sides of the equation. So this cancels. Y only is equal to 3 over 2. You can leave it like that, or you can say 1 whole number 1 over 2 as a fraction, as a mixed number. Okay, so I hope this was helpful. I will stop it there for today. Please make sure to subscribe. Until then, happy learning.